This week on Taking Care of Business, we are joined by the one, the only Marc Walters, our Group Managing Director. And actually, he joined a month after Allsopp was established. So you may say he's one of our OGs.
I think it was 2004, 2005 when I first came. Forget about all the money and all the nice things. I want to win. And my definition of winning at the time was making sure I stay here. It's all flight.
We're going to be talking about the property market then versus now.
I think it's changed significantly. There's a lot of horror stories.
And why Dubai has the capability of keeping up with the property markets like London, Paris and New York.
I think it's ridiculously cheap. I honestly do believe that.
We're going to be talking about Marc's journey, what makes Allsopp successful.
Listen, I'm the most biased person towards Allsopp. I'm so biased is that we have people throughout this company who run the company, who work not for us, with us. That's why we're number one.
So, if you've ever wondered why Allsopp is so good, this episode is for you. Tune in. Welcome back to another episode of Taking Care of Business. And this week, I'm actually joined by the one, the only, Marc Walters, our Group Managing Director. And if you don't know who Marc is, you probably shouldn't be watching this podcast. On this episode, we're going to be talking about Marc's journey to Dubai and Allsopp, what makes us the best, because we are. Dubai's property market over the years, your insights on the market, and also why I dress the way I dress. And there's a story there, and we'll get to it later on in the pod. But before we do that, let's talk about you. Let's celebrate you, Marc, because often you are on the pod as a host. You're not necessarily a guest. So I'm having the pleasure of interviewing you today as a guest. How does it feel?
I don't think there's going to be a lot of people going to be tuning in to hear my story.
They will.
No, listen, it's nice. I've never done this before where, I say I've never done this before. When we have new starters, they'll hear my story or snippets of my story. So I apologise for anything that I repeat, because I repeat it every single week to our new starters. But no, it's nice. Listen, it gives me a little bit of nostalgia as well to go back and, when was it now, 16 years ago.
16 years.
So yeah, it gives a little bit of an insight to me, maybe a little bit of an insight of my family background and so on and so forth, and why we're here, essentially. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
So for those of you that don't know, Marc's actually from Liverpool. Yeah. Again, if you didn't know that, then you probably shouldn't be watching this podcast. And you started with us, as you said, 16 years ago.
How comfortable are you, by the way?
Me?
It's uncanny how comfortable you are.
I mean,
before we came, just to say, before we came on camera, he's ordering people about. He's like Mariah Carey. It was like I said, I'm surprised there's not all dogs floating about here.
I mean, look, everybody does their own thing, and I like it. And we have a great team behind the camera as well as people in front of. So, listen, you came to Dubai. We talked off camera back in 2008.
Yep.
You joined Allsopp in the October, and of course, Allsopp was launched in the September. It's easy for you to sit here now as Group Managing Director, having guided the business, through huge success. Can you honestly say, though, that you thought Allsopp was going to be as successful as it is today when you arrived in October 2008?
No. I think the day, because I came over to Dubai and I never had a job. If you want to go right back to
rewind, yeah,
I never had a job. I've been coming to Dubai about 3 or 4 years beforehand. Myself and two of my friends, we got an introduction to a developer over here, and it was a development in JVC. So we said, listen, we could potentially sell some of these to friends and family and whatnot. And we got introduced to developer.
Yep.
Fast forward a few weeks, and anyway, we sold a few properties, it gives you a bit of an appetite then to the place. I could see it then. I could see what was going to happen in the place. It was, even though there was nothing here, you could just see and feel the energy already. So then...
Well, you came before the Burj Khalifa. You came before many of the things that we know today were here, right?
Well, even before I came, Cam, I was like, I think it was 2004, 2005 when I first came. And then, like I say, I got the bug of Dubai with... Let's say, my first bug of selling something then. Unfortunately, that development got cancelled, which was a massive thing for us because, like I say, we sold to friends and family. But luckily, all the money got returned back to the clients, which was good.
Nice.
But like I said, I got the bug and I thought to myself, this is somewhere where I want to be. And I was in a dead-end job. first of all, when I came up to school, I was working for a friend of mine in his corner shop. He was selling everything.
You worked in a corner shop?
Yeah. Anything that you could think of.
Wow.
Couches, fridges, spade, everything you could think of.
So my idea of a corner shop, sorry to interrupt, is like sweets and cigarettes and things.
You know, it was just literally, it was everything. You can imagine it was everything. So
All
I wanted to get out to school and I wanted to start earning straight away.
Okay.
And that was my first job. From there, the same company, I went to work in a warehouse where I was making furniture.
Yeah.
I've never put a nail in the wall in my life, still to this day. So I don't know what I was doing there. And then I got to a point, I bought I'm rabbiting here, but I got to a point, Cam, where I didn't know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. And I was living beyond my means. I'd bought and sold a small studio. So I had some money, but I was living beyond my means. I bought a flat that I couldn't afford. And I tell this story to everyone. So again, it's quite embarrassing, really. To try and feed the life that I wanted to live, I became a taxi driver, as well as working. After I worked in my friend's corner shop, I then went to work in a tax office. I was probably earning £300 a week, and I couldn't afford what I was trying to do. So I had a few bob in the bank, but I was just eating away at that all the time.
But you worked in a corner shop selling anything.
Yes.
As a taxi driver in a tax office.
But no, so I moved from the corner shop to the tax office. And a few years later down the line, when I couldn't afford what I was doing, I became a taxi driver. But what I was doing, and she only
I don't know how I'd feel if I got in the back of a taxi and you were the driver.
Cam, I was that
and you weren't wearing this type of suit, right?
No, I was that embarrassed. What I used to do is I used to wear a beanie hat because in case anyone used to see me.
Wow.
And I was that embarrassed as well. I met my wife now, Nicola, and I never told her for 8 months that I was driving a taxi because I was that embarrassed about what I was doing.
Wow. But you were only doing it to earn money to feed the lifestyle that you wanted, right?
Listen, again, it was not an exceptional amount of money, but I was doing it to keep my head above water. So when I fast forward, when I met Nicola, my wife, she just come out of university, and I think she got a degree in sociology and criminology. Obviously, like a lot of students do. Yeah. There's nothing you can do with that degree. So there was an advert online about Emirates Airlines. So she said, shall I go for it? I said, yeah, let's go for it. Because like I said, I was trying to have an excuse for me to make that move here.
Yeah.
She got the job, and it was like, what should we do? I went, let's just go. So then, anyway, we came here, never had a job, and a friend of Lewis's, a friend of mine, I apologise, he put me in touch with a friend of Lewis at the time. So I went to meet Lewis. So at the time, what's Lewis now? Was he 38, 39?
Yep.
And we were been open for 4 weeks, and we were in the villa. And I always say he was some snotty-nosed kid who thought he was more important than he really was, with a file of papers like this, I think with all names of owners of properties, and he was shuffling about as if he was important. And I went in September, got the job, and I think anyone who went in got the job. It wasn't.
Well, early days, I guess we didn't have as much of a stringent hiring practice as we did now. But actually, if we look back, those early hires, we talk about we talk about Darren Murphy, we talk about Rob Kempton. These are early hires, right? The OGs, if you like, of what's made Allsopp and Allsopp, and sort of the cornerstones of the success that we now see today. What I find remarkable is how many jobs you had, and you came to Dubai without a job. And I say that because so many people come to Dubai without a job. I don't necessarily think it's advisable. With how popular Dubai is now, it's probably unlikely that somebody would find work so easily if they just thought, sod it, pack up my case and go. You need to have a plan before you get here, right?
You got to have a plan, especially now.
Yeah.
Back then, and we always touch on, and we mess about with our brokers now, saying how easy they've got it and so on and so forth. But back then, Kameron, we never had no CRM system, there was no portals, there was none of this. It was literally sheets and reams of paper of people who own properties. And it was...
And just picking up the phone and calling
Just picking up the phone. Yeah. So there was no structure, there was no guidance, there was no training or anything like that. You've got to learn on the job. And I remember my first day when I went in, and this is when I started in the October, a few weeks later. And I got given literally about 100 sheets of paper with names on. And Lewis said, call these and see if they want to sell and see if they want to buy. So I think I got in about 8:30. By 12 o'clock, I must have called 300 people. I never got one single bite off anyone. And I didn't know. It's the only time I've ever felt out my depth because I didn't know what I was doing.
Why? Because you were disappointed that you didn't get any response back, or
I think it was just because I thought, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm getting paid.
You mean Lewis didn't train you?
Well, I'm forever in his debt, but at the time it was literally just the case. It was fight or flight, you know. And I think that's, you mentioned the names before, some of them lads.
Yep.
I think it was the same for them.
Yeah.
Not as much as what it was back in the first few
very
weeks,
early days.
but it was a case of, and for me, I know I touched on what I was doing previously. I came to Dubai. There was no option for me. There was no option whatsoever to go.
You mean there was no option to stay in the UK, or there was no option for you to come here and then go home?
Both.
Because I guess by that time, Nicola was working. She was enjoying herself.
She wasn't. She hated the job.
Oh,
She hated it. She was there for 3 months and left.
Really?
And we'll touch on that as well, about problems that I've had in Dubai. But there was never, I wanted to go because, listen, I love where I'm from. I'm proud from where I'm from, but I hate the place. I hate the place because it's especially now when I go back, it's just not somewhere where I want to be.
No.
And when I got here, I'm like a dog with a bone when I've got something, Cam, and I want to win. Forget about all the money and all the nice things. I want to win. And my definition of winning at the time was making sure I stay here.
Yep.
That was what it was. It's the same for the lads that you just mentioned then, the likes of Rob, the likes of all these people and Darren, and we always mention these lads, but they want to win. You know, money, yeah, that's the most important part, but the competition and winners, and you want to win against yourself, and that was my thing.
Yep.
I've been brought up, Cam, in the best home in the world. I wanted for nothing. My mum and dad are still together, the best people in the world. My sister, one is my best mate. All my family is close-knit, and I got everything that I wanted, but I couldn't stay in that place. I couldn't stay in a place because it was something that I thought, this can't be it. This cannot be it. And like you say, when I got here and we got the very limited tools, listen, you dealt with it.
Well, you have to go with the flow. Let me ask you this. Do you remember your first big paycheck, your first big commission?
So I'd say the first deal I done was in International City.
Okay.
And there was a girl that I used to work with, and when I came in, she was first through the door. Unbelievable. One of the best agents I've ever dealt with, ever worked with alongside. She was absolutely superb. And anyway, I have managed to agree a deal in International City. I remember the guy's name and I remember the unit number. I won't say that. And I agreed it, and I thought, brilliant. Done
Amazing.
a deal. Waited for 24 hours. Thought the deal was done. Because again, I didn't know what I was doing. So then the next day I phoned the seller up, and he said, it's been sold. It got sold yesterday after you spoke to me an hour later. So anyway, the girl who I was working with at the time, she helped me find another property. So we managed to find another property, and the buyer was still there. He ended up buying it. He actually bought a 2-bedroom. I think my commission was 6,500 or 7,500 dirhams.
So 7,500 dirhams was how much your first deal was.
So that was the first
back in the
deal.
day. And that was a sale.
It was a sale, yeah. But the first real paycheck that I had was actually a property in La Avenida. I still remember the guy's name who bought it as well. I think he still owns it. I won't mention his name. And the deal was worth 180,000 dirhams. So at the time, I don't know if they should be saying this, but at the time, we didn't have an accountant. Lewis was the accountant, or Carl was the accountant. And we used to get paid in cash.
Okay.
So when we got paid on payday, we were living, this is probably another thing I shouldn't be saying, when Nicola had the accommodation with Emirates, luckily for us, she got put in a hotel because the accommodation wasn't ready. So what I used to do is I used to get in the back of a Nissan Tida, in September, October, go underneath to the car park and sneak up every single night after getting the boot of the car.
Because just for the listeners at home who are somewhat younger than you, this was back in the day when the working week was Sunday to Thursday and unmarried men and women were not allowed to live together.
It wasn't that, Cam. It was Emirates accommodation wouldn't allow.
They wouldn't allow it.
They wouldn't allow anyone in.
So you were snuck in.
So I was sneaking in. So the reason why I say that story is that one night when I went back, when I got paid, so what was it? 90,000 dirhams. I had a big load of 1,000 dirham notes. And when I went in, it sounds stupid. It sounds absolutely
No,
ridiculous.
this is the reason we want to know these stories.
But I threw them at Nicola and the pair of us were dancing around the room. And that was when, that was never when the penny dropped. It was far from when the penny dropped, but it was just thought, wow, this could be good, this
No, but just a couple of things there. How old were you?
I'm 42 now, been in 16 years, so what, 25?
So you were 25,
Yeah.
and in one deal, you'd earned 90,000 dirhams, which is what, 20-ish in today's money, about 20,000 quid.
At the time.
£20,000.
Yeah.
Would you have earned that in a year back then?
No way. Like I say, what I was doing, don't forget, I was working in a tax office and I was, again, lying to everyone that I was jumping out of the tax office and jumping onto a taxi, which, again, I can't believe that I'm saying now on this. So to be able to, and again, tax-free, of course not. That's absolutely no chance. But that's the juice of this place, is that you just don't know what is going to happen. And from then, it was, you'd asked the question before, and I went off on a tangent. Did I believe that this place was going to go into the way it was?
Yep.
No. But I always had an idea or some type of thing in the back of my mind that this could be, I couldn't maybe not work anywhere else here.
Well, you perhaps thought it was going to be life-changing. And if we do fast forward now, as you say, you were 25-ish when you came. You're 42 this year, did you say?
43 this year.
43 this year. You look good at 43.
Thank you, mate.
It's amazing what a bit of tax-free sunshine does for you. But you would, you wouldn't argue, you would confirm it has been life-changing for you. You know, you think now to the family that you now have, you've got 2 children, the wife that you mentioned earlier, Nicola. Yeah. Incredible. Like, when you look back, did you ever think that you would ever have what you have now? And I know you're a very humble guy, but in the same breath, life's changed for you.
It's changed irrevocably, and it's one of the things that we do say when we speak to our new starters. It's the hardest job in the world. Fact. Don't care what you are, whether you've been in the military, whether you've been a milkman, whether you've been a window cleaner. This is the hardest job in the world. And when people do see what our top performers have, they don't see what goes into it.
No.
They don't see what goes into it. And that is the biggest issue. The biggest issue is the sacrifice. And I'm going to come across really, really blunt here, but you have to sacrifice your family.
Yep.
You've got to sacrifice your friends. I've got 100 friends at home who I miss dearly. Like I say, I've got my parents at home who I miss every single day. But that's my sacrifice, to be able to do what I want to do for me as well, but more importantly for my kids and my wife and my family. And the answer to your question is 110%.
Changed.
It's changed irrevocably to a point where I could never imagine. Listen, like I say, I'm competitive and I want to be the best. I always want to. And someone said the other day, what's the definition of success? The definition of success for me is exactly what this guy said. And it's waking up every single day and doing things with people that you want to be doing them with and being happy. And that's what I'm doing at the minute. Listen, the money's a byproduct. It's like,
yes,
it's a byproduct, because if you are happy with what you're doing and you sacrifice the things, it does sound very, very clinical about sacrificing your family.
No, but it has to be done. It has to be done. And I think it's the often overlooked, I don't know whether it's emotion or it's overlooked a lot. People say, oh, you live in Dubai, so you must have it easy. And again, you know, it's going to sound a bit strange, but yes, it's very nice living in the sunshine and having people around you to do great things with, and earning more money and not paying any tax and it being safer. Yes, those are all nice things. But you are thousands of miles away from your home, your friends, your family. Although it's a sacrifice that we're choosing to make, it doesn't make it any less easy when we lose somebody, or somebody gets married and you can't be there, or somebody has a baby and you can't be. You know, there's things which, as expats, yes, we choose to be expats for a better life, but it doesn't mean that you don't still have the same emotions than if you lived in the UK or your home country, right?
And even closer to home, Cam. I see my kids every morning for 20 minutes. I go home and I put them to bed every night, but I'll see them for an hour. Now, not that woe is me. I'm not saying that because, listen, I have got the best life and the best of everything, because I am a humble person, you know what I mean? And I'm forever grateful for what I've got. I'm forever grateful for my background. I'm forever grateful for my family and my upbringing. I'm forever grateful for what the lads who own a business as well have done for me. And don't get me wrong, listen, I work my socks off for them as well.
It's a two-way street, absolutely.
Of course it is. Yeah. But there's a lot of sacrifice that people do not see. But if you do, and like you say, the new guys that are coming in don't look at these big guys who are doing all the numbers, or look at them, but spend 24 hours with them.
Yeah, and understand
70,
how they got there and actually what their background was, because it isn't easy.
But still now, Kameron.
Yeah.
Still now, the background is fine and what they've done, but still to this day, watch these boys and what they do 7 days a week.
Who consistently
do.
Yeah.
I've just been speaking to one of them on the phone, and he's with his family on a holiday. Within 2 hours, he's on a Zoom call trying to. I think he was trying to do a deal or sort a deal out.
Yep.
And his kids are in the background and they're screaming, "Daddy!" All of these things, but we laugh, but it's like people do not see that. People just.
But they don't see it, and I guess it's easy for you to say to the new starters, don't expect that so quickly. But it's difficult not to want more and not to want more quickly. We live in a very different world. Even to when I came to Dubai, or even when I took my first job, there is much more of a keeping up with the Joneses mentality. The more you have, the more you want. The more you want, the more you have.
Do you think that's going back to your question to me about at the start, and I'm saying, we sometimes say to the guys, you don't know how lucky you are with. But do you think now is a potential hindrance for, let's say, our new guys or new people that come to Dubai because of keeping up with the Joneses, because of socials? Obviously, it's so important in all of our lives. But do you think that is a hindrance now to these? Like, so you see some of these young kids on Instagram who get out of bed at 11 o'clock and are driving around in Lamborghinis, and the lads or guys who are coming in to work with us, they want that instantly.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a problem. And I think it doesn't matter whether or not we're talking about brokers joining Allsopp and Allsopp, or if we're talking about your kids growing up in a world which is full of social media now. There is this is my life and this is the life I can see online. How much of it's actually real? That would be the first thing. And it's a nice segue actually into the next topic, which is we've been here for a long time, right? You more so than me. You're considered one of the OGs, having been here only a month after we established. I've only been here for 8 and a bit years. But we've been here a long enough time to be able to quantify this is a good place, as in Dubai. Allsopp and Allsopp specifically is a great place. The training, the platform, the people around you, the learning, etc. One thing I'm sure you will notice is that there is so much more choice for people now. So even in the 8 years that I've been here, when you came to Dubai as a broker, there were probably 10 good firms. There's probably 20 good firms now and a lot of not so good ones. It's very difficult for people to be able to go, oh, okay, well, I like what that person's saying and I like what that person's saying. And we've noticed it. As a recruitment team, you see so many more recruiters, come and join this company because we're the best. Genuinely though, when we say working at Allsopp and Allsopp has been life-changing and it is the best place, we can say it with conviction because I'm approaching a decade, you're approaching 2 in the same company. So when we say join Allsopp and Allsopp because of X, Y, Z, it isn't because we just got here 5 minutes ago. No. It's because we've actually been here and we've seen the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs. It's quantifiable information that we're given that we can say, you should join us because we're the best.
I think for new starters, I'll answer your question because it's a really good question, mate. For new starters, or for people coming to Dubai, when you're on an interview and somebody badmouths another company, shut them down.
Yep.
As soon as that happens, anyone who just has to justify why they should, not justify, but anyone who has to speak about another company, and listen, everyone does it, I understand, question that first and foremost.
Well, you say everybody does that.
Yeah.
But if you're interviewing with us, we won't speak of another agency. Whereas we will get people that will interview with us and go, oh yeah, so-and-so told us so-and-so about so-and-so.
It's sad. No,
it's very sad.
It's sad because like you say, if you've got a good company, you've got a good product, and you've got an identity. I always go on about this company having an identity, and it's the most important. The word, I believe that should be is identity, because that's what we have.
Yep.
We don't bend for anyone. There's things that we could do better. There's things that I believe that we excel in. But one thing that we are is, and I always say this as well, and I've robbed this from a sportsman, is that we're best in class in every way. That's the reason why I believe Allsopp and Allsopp is where it is today, is because of people like you, because of people like Joe Parker, because of people like our managers, because of people like Lewis, because of people like Edison, because of these guys.
Yeah.
All of these things are the reason why we are where we are, because we are best in class. And we have a managers meeting every second Wednesday, I think it is.
Monthly, we do.
Monthly, sorry, yeah. And barring one, I think last month, every single one of them managers been with us for 6 years. That's the span of the business.
Yeah.
Every single.
Well, did you see the figure we put out on a video recently? The average tenure for our management, Mark, is 10.5 years.
There you go. It's
10.5 years the average manager will stay with us for.
That says to me as well, look, Cam, not only there's going to be grumbles, of course they are, but not only I believe are they happy, is that information and that education that they can give to a new starter or to an existing person who's been here for 4, 5, 6 years is critical. The most important part of this role, as whether it be a sales, whether it be a lettings agent, whether it be a commercial agent, is support. Having that support, having that guidance, having that structure. Because all the motivation in the world lasts for 5 minutes. That was one of the things Lewis always said. Motivation lasts for 5 minutes.
Well, it's consistency. And I think that's something that we do exceptionally well as a business, right? We started off strong, we've continued, and we've been consistent with it. Whereas you see lots of other agencies, and whether we're talking about real estate or anything, they come into the market, make a big splash, make a big entrance, they don't necessarily follow through with it. We have been consistently there in the Dubai property market, strong for the last 16 years.
Come on, it's like anything. You do. It's like muscle memory, isn't it? If you go to a Premier League football team today, from probably 10 till 12 o'clock, they will drill exactly the same that they do every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then he'll do what they do on a Thursday and do on a Friday, and consistently they'll do it. It's the same here.
Yeah.
I've always. It's not my job to do this, but I want to be first in the morning. I want to put the music on. I want to go all around the AC units and I want to put them on just because that's our identity. Not that our identity. It's freezing cold.
Let me just make it clear though to the viewers at home. When he says go into town on the AC units, he means make every room in the office or every floor on the office freezing cold. Right?
But I believe that we have to start from the front, Kameron.
Yeah.
That's why we are so, I believe, and I'm the most biased person towards Allsopp and Allsopp. I believe my name's on the door. It's not, but I always believe that. And that's why I'm so biased, is that we have people throughout this company who run the company, who work not for us, with us, who are the best in class at everything that they do. Just onboarding things like that. No.
Well, basically what you're saying, and it gets spoken about quite a lot, but I think it's really important. We have people within the business running their own mini business within the business, right? All working towards the same common goal, which is to be the best in class. But ultimately, each manager or each business unit, overseer is an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur within a business managing their own work. And that's something we do exceptionally well.
And you know what, Cam? It doesn't need me or Carl or Lou to tell them that. They've got their own sense of pride. You know, if they see something is not right, okay, I'll give them a little nudge every now and again. They don't need that. They can identify that a long time before it happens. They've got their own sense of pride and their own sense of, again, being that competitor within. They can't have being left behind. And that's why, again, for anyone who's coming to our company, and obviously this is not a recruitment pod, but it's why I believe we are best in class, and why I think, listen, we're number one by a country mile for everything.
For everything we do. Well, look, there's no denying we've been successful, and I think that's testament to the people that we've hired, but also testament to the leadership and the guidance that we have within the business. Now, Allsopp and Allsopp, as we've said, has grown massively since you've joined. It keeps getting bigger and better every time. We have news, which most people will have seen by now, about a record-breaking sale in Talal Al Gaf.
Yeah.
Another one in Jumeirah Islands, another one in Al Barari. What do you put those kinds of record-breaking sales down to? Is that because of the type of people that are coming to Dubai? Is it because of the wealth flowing in? Is it because we've got great salespeople that can identify and create or spot an opportunity? What do you think it is?
I think it's all the above. I think the people that we have now, obviously with our private office opening officially, not that we've never had a private office, because we have sold $10 million plus properties before, but now it's solidified what we've been doing in the past. So yeah, it is down to the people that we have. I think it's down to how I think if you look at our marketing as well, Cam, it's so slick, I believe, you know, and you're at the forefront of it with your, and listen, it's superb, by the way, but I think all of these things, and also the market as well, I'm bored. When I come onto this, I repeat the same thing on every single one of the pods. Dubai is still very, very competitive in terms of prices.
Oh, hugely so.
If you look at, we'll touch on the Talal and we'll touch on the Jumeirah Islands one in a minute. But if you look at an average sale in Dubai last month, it was 1,400 dirhams per square foot. 1,400 dirhams is what? It's just shy of £300 in sterling in the UK per square foot. It's for nothing. Let's say you go high end and you look at, let's say, Royal Atlantis or Bulgaria. You're looking at anything between 10 to 15,000 dirham per square foot, which in London, grand scheme of things, you go to Kensington and it's double that. It's 27 to 35,000 dirham per square foot.
Yep.
Now, again, I'll repeat what I say. Maybe some people argue you can't compare Dubai to London. Why not?
Well, I think it gets compared to other big cities in other elements, right? When we talk about the luxury, and it isn't necessarily just the luxury lifestyle, but if we talk about cities, and I know Dubai is not the capital of the UAE, of course Abu Dhabi is, but it is very much compared to on all manner of things, whether it's fashion or cars or architecture. So definitely it's compared. Why shouldn't property be compared to it?
I totally agree. And like you say, you mentioned about the people coming. I was reading something before about Elon Musk, and he's tweeted something earlier on, and it's just things like that. It's just getting attention from all around the world. And
well, look, there's no denying that the PR machine of Dubai, whoever is behind making Dubai the success that it is, deserves more than a golden visa.
Cam, it's the way it's ran as well.
Absolutely.
If you come to Dubai, you have to contribute in some way. You're not getting the handouts.
Yes.
You're not getting any sort of benefits while you're here. So because it's a very expensive place to live. So if you're not contributing to the economy, you can't live here.
Well, we could easily spiral off into a completely different podcast, but you're right. There's no benefits culture here, right? If you're coming to Dubai, as we said earlier on, you need to have a plan. You need to have some money behind you. Even if you're coming to work with us on a commission-only basis, or you're coming to Dubai with a salaried role, you need to have money to be able to rent a place and get a car and live. You can't just turn up at the border and go, "Hi." So
it's true.
Where's the benefits package? There is none. I'm
going back to your question with regards to the properties that we sold, especially the one over 105 million. Like I say,
this was Talal Al Ghaf, right?
It was Talal Al Ghaf, yeah. This place, and even the data that we have and the people that we've met over the last 16 years. I'm not saying these guys, they're all over our system, but we have that brand now. We have that brand awareness. Like you say, the private office just opened and it looks incredible.
Slick.
Just everything that we do, I believe now, is just a little bit better than it was 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. It's just getting better and better. And that's, again, with recruitment, bringing these guys in, bringing all of these things that we've never had before, where now it is it's a machine.
Well, the benefit of being number one is that we are always looking to be better because, of course, although imitation is the highest form of flattery, so many companies will imitate or try to imitate or emulate our success. It's difficult because they don't have the people that we have, but people will try. So it's always important for us to keep ourselves sharp. And it's easy, I guess, if we weren't as successful as we were, we may, and Lewis and Carl may have plateaued and thought, you know what? We're doing quite well. They don't. Yeah. There is always this, and it can be tiring for a manager within the business, and I'm sure you'll probably agree, but that constant pursuit of better keeps us all sharper.
And I've tried not to mention them in Carl and Lou, but that's their biggest strength.
Of course.
Their biggest strength is seeing opportunities where they're not in the market. And this wasn't an opportunity, but I'm pulling the trigger as well in terms of, I think when COVID happened, in the middle of COVID, we doubled our marketing spend. And it was like, wow, what's going on
Why
here?
would you do that?
Even, I remember the call. I was sitting in my garden and we had a Google Meet call and he said, right, let's do this. And I went, are you sure? Let's do it. And they'd done it. And I thought, probably one of the things I couldn't do, like for all things I'm quite good at, that for me is it takes...
Well, hindsight, look back, what was everybody doing in COVID?
Yeah.
On their screens.
Yeah.
Getting pissed off because the houses were too small or they didn't have a garden. And the first thing they're doing is taking two. And this didn't just happen in in the UAE with Property Finder and Bayou, but it happened in the UK with Rightmove, and I'm sure it happened all over the world. People took to property portals thinking, "God, when all of this is over, which it will be, we need a bigger place."
But that's what they're good at. That's what the lads are seeing, and obviously they've got, like I keep going about, exceptional people around them to execute. But 9 times out of 10, they are the catalyst to the things that we do see.
Well, they're the drivers at the end of the day.
It's the hardest part.
Yeah.
I think some people think that the hardest part is coming into work every day from 8 till 8 and slogging and going on 25 viewings and everything else, and then seeing maybe the lads who are in every single day. But what goes on behind the scenes to this business is there's 600 people here.
Well, as you say, it's the behind the scenes, which again, whether you're a top performing broker, a top performing CEO, you don't necessarily see behind and actually what goes on. And, shout out to the wives and the husbands and the girlfriends and the boyfriends, etc.
They suffer the most.
Support, right?
Listen, they suffer, like when at the start of the podcast, they suffer the most. Every single one of our wives and husbands and girlfriends and kids and everything else, they suffer the most. How many? And there was another thing that I seen on Instagram the other day, and there was a guy, and he was actually upset. I think he was a rapper.
Right.
And he was talking about when we're speaking to our kids, they hold on to everything. So when we walk through the door and we say, "Hold on, I'm just on the phone, give us 5 minutes, let me have a rest." When we speak to them about things, they hold on to everything. When we reject them, they remember all of this.
Yeah.
And you know what? It just hit home, and I was just thinking, I've got to do a better job here, because when I come in, I want 5 minutes, but my lad Freddie,
you don't get 5 minutes.
He wants to play football in the back garden, and I'm just thinking, don't ever say no to that boy again, because like you say, they hold on. You're their superhero. You know what I mean? And it's like, we can't, the next generation, obviously our kids, they suffer the most with us in this job, and we can't allow it. We have to make a lot more sacrifices to make sure that they don't remember that time when you're on the phone all the time, So
double-edged sword though, because
absolutely.
The life that we get to enjoy off of the back of being successful from the Dubai real estate market is unmatched in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Now, we've got our July market report that's going to come out shortly, and I'm almost certain that we'll see that Dubai didn't slow as much as everybody usually thinks it does. Listen, disclaimer or elephant in the room, there is a summer in Dubai. A lot of people do leave. Everybody will notice the roads are a little bit busier. Less busy. What do you think? Do you think it hasn't slowed as much as we expected?
Listen, there's a lot of people away. I'll always put a spin on it though, Kameron. I think in Dubai we have, I think it's about 3 or 4 segments throughout the year. We have Ramadan. There's another Eid as well, isn't he?
Yep. Ramadan.
We have summer and we have Christmas. So there's 3 or 4 probably elements to the year. Within them 3 or 4 elements, people have this perception and tell themselves it's going to be dead or it's going to be less busy, because they're telling themselves. What I will tell myself is that a lot of agents are going away.
Yeah.
Or the clients who are in the 45, 50 degree heat that want to view are ready to go.
They are serious.
They're ready to go.
Yes.
So all of these things, and like I say, it's my job to make sure we put a spin on that, but it's not a spin, because there's still lots and lots of people who are still registering with us every single day, who still want to view every single day. But obviously it's our job to make sure our agents don't have that perception where, right, I'm down on tools, I'm away in 2 weeks and everything else. So in terms of slowing down, listen, let's not try and pull the wool over anyone's eyes. People go away. That's a fact.
It does naturally slow, but not to the level that everybody thinks. Because if you speak to people, mainly people that have not been to Dubai yet or have not lived in Dubai for a long period of time, will go, Dubai in the summer, nobody's there. No. We are here. It's July the 31st. We're still here. So things do happen, but I don't know who coined it, but I know who uses it the most, and it's Carl Allsopp, and he says seasonality is a mentality. If you tell yourself, that's it, summer's here, I'm going off. Okay, that's fine, but there's still loads more business to be done. And as you said, the most serious people, if they're out viewing in 45 degree heat, they're ready to buy.
Cameron, it's like anything in life. You tell yourself something every single day. You get up in the morning and you tell yourself, it's going to be a poor day.
Yeah.
If you say, I don't know, if you believe in something that you're going to, something negative, it's going to be negative. It's like we always, and I say another thing when we speak to our new starters, I cannot be around negativity. Yeah. And Because it's so, it transfers into so many people. And like you say, it spreads like
horrible.
wildflower. And it's the same, like you say, it is a thing. And it's like you said, the 4 segments that I've put it in, there's a lot of people who do switch off, but I believe there's an opportunity. That's just my opinion.
Well, I say this to my team most days, or most weeks at least. Your day will go the way the corners of your mouth turn.
Yeah.
If you're smiling, let's put it out there to the world.
Yeah.
If it's a bad day, your mouth's not going to be smiling. Okay, let's talk about some, well, not let's talk about some. I want to know your biggest misconception about investing in Dubai real estate. Because
I think it's changed a lot.
Well,
I think it's changed significantly. I think a lot of the negative misconception of Dubai was just after the global crash.
Yep.
When you came to Dubai, there was a lot of towers that were put up and there was no crane, or the cranes were left dormant.
Dismantled, yeah.
And I think that was there was a lot of horror stories. Obviously, not that I was one of the horror stories, but I could have been one of the horror stories with the development that I was telling you about earlier on.
Yeah.
Luckily, that was one of very, very few where the clients that we sold to got their money back. But now, Dubai, I believe, Cam, is getting, and there's so many things that they're putting in place, so many things that just solidifies how prominent and how safe Dubai is becoming. I think the misconceptions maybe it's maybe too expensive because they see all the glitz and glamour on. But
we've already identified that actually Dubai is a very good value for money marketplace to buy in.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I think it's ridiculously cheap. I honestly do believe that.
And also when you factor in things like you don't pay capital gains here, or you don't pay any tax for your rental income. And of course, I'm relating this back to the UK because that's where we're both from. But if you start a property portfolio here, the money you earn from rent, minus your mortgage and your expenses, is yours.
I think as well, if you talk to the older generation at home, there's a misconception of Dubai of what goes on in Dubai. Can you get a glass of wine? Can you know,
it's too strict in Dubai. Why do you live there?
Listen, when you come over, sometimes it's a little bit too liberal, but the place is so forward thinking. And I think now the answer to your question is because there is so many things in place that will secure your investment, that will ensure that when you do purchase, your money is safe. That's the most important thing that when you're buying a property, right? Is if you put your deposit down, you want to know it's going to a reputable company or a reputable developer. So do your homework. But the misconception, I think, for Dubai now, it's definitely dwindled from what it was in 2000, let's say 2008, 2009.
Well, let's look at even things like compliance. It's a word that will send most people to sleep. I know it does me, but it's so important to make sure that we are compliant, and there are money laundering regulations and anti-money laundering checks and things which are there to safeguard you, me, anybody that's investing in the property market here in Dubai, to make sure that their investment is safe.
It's great for them. It can be a bit of a pain at times, but it's so important. It's so important. The likes of, and obviously we've got our own AML team in-house. And at the time it was a little bit, well, what's going on here? But it just shows how serious this place wants to be taken, And there's loads of other little different things as well, Cameron, what the land department will bring in. I'm hoping for a few new things that they do bring in.
Okay.
It might be a little bit, I think when people listen, they might not want that, but it's some little thing what I believe to protect us as the broker is where I'm.
Listen, it's change and it's about being dynamic, and we haven't touched on that word yet, but I would say that the people who are operating at a high level within our organisation are dynamic. Change will happen. Yeah. But so long as you understand why and you go with it and you support it, you'll stand the test of time, right?
And it's for the betterment of everyone. It's for the betterment of, now with the new, it's been 2 or 3 years now with the new unified Form Fs, it protects the broker.
Yeah.
And listen, from a commercial point of view, it's good for us. It protects the broker and all these things that the land department and the government are bringing in. Yes, the consumer is at the forefront of the mind, but the guys who actually run this place, the real estate brokers and the real estate agencies, we want a little bit of help as well. And that is happening tenfold. And it certainly has over the last 4 or 5 years, which is great for us.
But again, testament to the way that the market or rather the country and specifically Dubai and the real estate scene here is being policed, right? It's if enough people will talk about it and something needs to happen, a change maybe to legislation, it can happen.
And
Whereas
it had to happen because we don't want it to be the Wild West. We don't want people coming over, don't have broker licenses, don't have visas, who are trying to sell properties. And again, I say to our guys, we take it for granted sometimes. People who buy properties from us are spending every single fill that they have in their bank.
Yep.
And because sometimes we may think it's just another deal to us, we've got to think, okay, what is that person thinking? And when they're giving out their money to us or they're giving their check to us and we're the custodians of that, we've got to lead them so diligently throughout the process. And if we're not, and they don't know the processes, it's like, well, they're lost. And, you know, we have to have these processes in place. It's so important. And like you say, with the help behind the scenes, with the government, that's certainly happening now. And like I say, it's becoming a serious place. It has been for the last 16 years since I've been here.
No, but I think definitely regulations have tightened. And sometimes when you say that can sound like a negative. But actually, it's not. You know, people are entrusting us with their life savings to purchase a property. Moreover, people are entrusting us with their next career move. And everything we do, whether it's visa onboarding in the right way or having a great sales progression team to guide a sale through, it's all there to assist the people that are doing business with us or our stakeholders, whether they're employees or whether they're customers.
I think the onboarding process with our company, Cam, it epitomizes, I believe, again, with our company, why we are so good, in the sense of some of these guys are 21, 22-year-old, you know, adults, let's say, but they need guidance. They haven't had a job before. And the likes of yourself, the likes of your team, we have to be so upfront with them.
Oh,
we have
honesty
to be
is
honest
the
with
best
them,
policy, for sure.
And I believe that's where, going back to what I was saying before with regards to the processes of buying a property, it's just as important when we're onboarding with our staff as well. All the flaws, all the things that they have to look out for, it's so important because you're in the hands of you, and our buyers or our sellers or our tenants or landlords are in the hands of us because they don't know the process.
No.
You know, but again, it's got so much better over the last, especially the last 4 or 5 years. The things that they have put in place, it's got and I think it's only going to get better.
Well, I feel like it's been a bit supercharged, hasn't it? That's how I would describe it, even in the time that I've been here. It feels supercharged in the last 4 or 5 years.
That's the only thing where I think it could probably do it a little bit of help with. It's overnight. You know, there's things that are implemented, bang, it's overnight. When they introduced from 2% transfer fee to 4% transfer fee, I think we had around 300 files where a buyer was paying 2%, and we had to have a conversation with the buyer that he was paying 4%. So all of these things, just land departments, if you're watching, give us a little bit of a chance or a lead-in period.
Or a heads up, please.
Or a bit of a heads up, yeah.
Love it. Okay, so let's end with something a bit fun. And it's an anecdotal story. And I think you'll remember my first couple of weeks within the business.
Yeah, I think I know what's coming.
And of course, back then, we didn't have as many people as we do now. So everybody was on one floor in Vision Tower. We had one boardroom. And you invited everybody in. Everybody. And you're doing your various, welcomes and congratulations. And anyway, you say to me, Kameron, would you step forward? And of course, me being I've only been here a couple of weeks. Yeah, sure, I stand forward. And I'll never forget this in front of everybody, and I won't do it in your accent. You said, "What the are you wearing?" Now, for context, I was wearing a brown suit, a pink shirt, and a green tie. Needless to say, all of that has gone into the charity bin, and I'm sure somebody is enjoying all of those items. But I'm telling the story on the basis that for some people, it could have been I don't like him.
Yeah.
How dare he say that in front of me? You gave me a bit of a wake-up call because obviously I was dressing as a UK estate agent, and I'm sorry to the UK estate agents, but some of your fashion is not good. But you said to me, what am I wearing? Would you say I've improved?
Listen, I think you've definitely improved. You've definitely improved. I think you're up there with the top 3 now, Cam.
I mean, I'm not quite Tom Ford, level, but we're there or thereabouts.
No, listen, with that, obviously, it's tongue in cheek, and I never would have done it with someone I believe would not have taken that well. And I think that's management.
Absolutely.
It's management in a sense that listen, you're very, very confident and you didn't need me to introduce you to the team. But I think sometimes people need that little, whether it be a little bit of camaraderie or to know who you are. And I think that's just adapting as a manager.
Yeah.
You can't treat people the exact same way. Like you say, you've just said it then. I might have said it to someone else and they would have gone into the shell potentially. But
Of course, yeah.
But I think I've got a decent sense of, or judge of character to know who I can and who I can't say that to. But listen, you've come on leaps and bounds.
It was certainly a moment where I was hoping the ground would swallow me up in that exact moment.
Yeah.
But later on down the line, it's one of those life lessons. And I think it's testament to the relationship that you have with, your managers to make sure that we are all successful together.
Cameron, I remember, I'm probably going to go off on a tangent again here. When I took over as a sales director, I think it was 3 years in, there was a guy before me and he was exceptional for me. He was so, so good for me. There was things that he does that I still implement to this day.
Yep.
And my biggest concern was gaining the respect of his staff. It's not his staff, is the guys who were in his team. And that was my biggest thing. And I always thought, if I can gain the respect straight away of his team, I'm halfway there. It's the same as anyone.
Yep.
Any manager. I'm not saying I'm going to treat people differently, but I get to know them, understand the character, understand what pushes the buttons, understand what motivates them, understand what structures they like and everything else. But making sure I want these guys to work alongside, but I want these guys to run through a brick wall for Allsopp. Not for me. It's not for me. I want them to run through a brick wall for the firm. I think that's probably my main objective, is that I want everyone to come to work with your suit on, with your body of armour. And I know it sounds a little bit cliched and a little bit, but it is true. I want people to run through a brick wall for this company, because it's only for the betterment for yourself from a professional point of view, but for your teams as well.
Well, it's also betterment for their own success, right? Yes, we want them to do it for the business, but actually if you're successful for the business, the chances are you're going to be successful for yourself.
Yeah.
If we use ourselves as an example, us day one of Allsopp and Allsopp versus day however many it's been, there's been a noticeable change.
Massive change, but again, that's down to you. That's the company helps, of course, and Lewis and Carr will help, but it's down to you when you get out of bed every single day. If you want to change, if you want to adapt, if you want to learn, if you want to say yes to things that you usually say no to, all of these things, it's down to you. No one can sit on your shoulder for 24 hours a day. And that's one of the things that I say to new guys who are coming in, is just want to learn.
Yep.
Don't be set in your ways.
Well, open yourself up to possibilities. And
Absolutely.
It's the age-old thing of you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink.
Yep.
We are very, very good at providing the platform, the support, the training, the guidance, the data, everything. What candidate A does with it and candidate B is the difference between candidate A being a Darren Murphy now and multi-millionaire and enjoying the life that he does versus candidate B who decided to leave after 3 weeks.
But it's relentless as well, Cam. It's that obsession. When, again, whether you're starting with us on Friday or you're 10 years in, be obsessed with what you do.
Yeah.
No matter what walk of life you're in, be obsessed with your job. Be obsessed with the area that you sell or you rent or your whatever it may be. Understand the nuts and bolts of everything that you do, because it might be the difference of doing a deal and not doing a deal. Go out in your car and spend a day looking where the nurseries are or the schools or everything. Be obsessed with what you do and sacrifice. Again, it's horrible to say, but sacrifice people around you, sacrifice your friends, sacrifice your families, because what will happen 3 or 4 years' time will be for the betterment of them. 100%. But just be obsessed with what you do. And like I say, if you do, you give yourself half a chance.
Well, I feel like that's quite a nice place to leave it, Marc. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've learned something new today.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for future episodes of Taking Care of Business, and we'll see you next time.